We have to run. It's part of our personality. And we just can't take away such an important part of our personality as our running game.
This one has the makings of a triple-digit affair. LSU's Tigers, Georgia Tech's Yellow Jackets. We'll have it in a moment.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies. Get Met, it pays. Nike, to remind you to just do it. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirsty for that deep down body thirst.
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball!
You got a thirst?
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball!
You know what you need.
Give me the ball!
Fluids and minerals fast.
Give me the ball!
Energy for hard-working muscles.
Gatorade!
Nothing better. Give me some of that Gatorade.
It's time to review your insurance needs with MetLife. Get Met. It pays.
Li Chen of the Chinese National Airline uses Craftsman, hand tools that are guaranteed forever. The tools a lot of people buy because they know they can always return them. And some buy because they know they can't.
The freedom to say and think what we believe, to express our individuality and diversity. That celebration of the 200th anniversary of the Bill of Rights.
The night lights of Knoxville, Tennessee, and the calm of the city about to focus inside Thompson Bowling Arena for a second-round matchup in the Southeast Regional between the Tigers of LSU and the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Let's go to Haywood Harris, our PA announcer, and meet our starting lineups.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And now let's meet the starting lineups. For LSU, at forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Natchez, Mississippi, number 24, Burnell Singleton. For Georgia Tech, at forward, a 6'8" junior from Reston, Virginia, number 4, Dennis Scott. For LSU, at forward, a 7-foot sophomore from Hopkins, South Carolina, number 53, Stanley Roberts. For Georgia Tech, at forward, a 6'10" freshman from Chattanooga, Tennessee, number 32, Malcolm Mackey. For LSU, at center, a 7'1" freshman from San Antonio, Texas, number 33, Shaquille O'Neal. For Georgia Tech, at center, a 6'9" senior from High Point, North Carolina, number 44, Johnny McNeil. For LSU, at guard, a 6-foot sophomore from New Haven, Connecticut, number 10, Maurice Williamson. For Georgia Tech, at guard, a 6'4" senior from Smyrna, Georgia, number 13, Brian Oliver. For LSU, at guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Gulfport, Mississippi, number 35, Chris Jackson. And for Georgia Tech, at guard, New York, number 12, Kenny Anderson. And introducing the head coaches for LSU in his 18th season, Dale Brown. For Georgia Tech in his 9th season, Bobby Cremens.
A matching of wits, a a matching of great point guards and high scorers. LSU and Georgia Tech. We've got it next.
Yeah, I'm busy, but I still like to keep in touch with the guys in LA. And the guys in Kansas City.
Local stations, this is a time check.
Today we'll talk more about...
We're about to find out. Bingo! They tie it up on Anthony Corbett's jumper. So it's 3-2 on that first basket by Day. Was a three-point shot. So it is 3-2 Arkansas.
Brent, it'll be a great matchup. Corbett and Howell. Two players that are not the kind of guys you recruit out of high school. But two workman-like players who get the most out of their ability.
Miguel Knight, number 32, the man to watch for the Flyers. Gets a screen. Nice, confident dribble. Comes down to the baseline. Drew the first foul. No shot.
They do switch, he can't get back on the quicker Knight.
So Bowers with the game's first personal. Underneath, they get an easy field goal for Nolan Robinson.
Credit trying to go ahead and play for the block. Not a wise move. Here we see the zone defense. Day will try to find himself a spot.
Bowers, rebound by Dayton. Robinson, the 6'5" senior, pulling it down. And here is Knight again. His first three. Arkansas at the glass, and Day traveled when he went down.
Got a two-net inside game, and Georgia Tech is going to have to be worried about their inside people getting in foul trouble. Big key for them. Keep their bigs out of foul trouble.
Dennis Scott, the ACC's leading scorer, around a Mackey pick. And now Kenny Anderson, the sensational freshman, will set it at the point for Georgia Tech. Here's Scott around a pick. Lost the handle. Last touch by LSU.
Dale Brown's plan on Dennis Scott is to use two people over the course of the game, use up his fouls if need be, and probably force him into the paint to their two shot blockers.
And they can block the shots. O'Neal and Roberts, both over 7 feet tall, and they fill up a lot of the lane. Anderson tried to feed it in low. Vernell Singleton does a nice job of fronting Scott.
He's their main man, and he was quite effective inside and outside in their first round game.
Georgia Tech has to be aware there's only 11 seconds on the shot clock as they inbound. I don't know if Kenny Anderson's aware of that or not, Tommy. Well, he is now. Mackey got the rebound. His hook.
How well he does against the Great Wall of China. That's what I call those two big guys from LSU, the Great Wall of China.
Tech wants to pull the defense out and really defend the perimeter. That might be the key tonight as Shaquille O'Neal ties it up.
Well, they have a size advantage at one of those two guys. Mackey can hold his own with one of them, but McNeil much smaller.
And Vernell Singleton picks up the first foul of the ball game, trying to hang with Dennis Scott. He'll have his hands full.
Fouls on Singleton. His first, team first.
North Carolina's advanced to the Sweet 16, an upset over Oklahoma. Michigan State here in the Southeast region held on for a win. UNLV already in. Ball State by 2 over Louisville. They continue their Cinderella story. Dennis Scott outside. Brian Oliver somehow got a rebound over the tall timber and had it stuffed back in his face. Malcolm Mackey has done well early. Scott pulls up all alone. What a brick on a three-pointer, and Oliver again, and this time he's fouled.
What Georgia Tech wants to do is really up-tempo this game. You're going to see the block right now by the Great Wall of China, at least one of them. That's the West Wall right here. And the other one coming in and swatting it away. But that's what you really have to be alert to, is underneath, you will not get a shot 5 feet from the basket. So up against and kick it back out.
Two of Georgia Tech's top shooters have started off a little bit tight here. Brian Oliver misses a free throw, and Dennis Scott already 0 for 2 from the field. Oliver finds it with the second one, and Georgia Tech back in front by a point. Tech with a little backcourt pressure. It's got LSU bothered, but Jackson gets into the front court.
LSU has been bothered with pressure defense most of the year, and you wouldn't think that would happen with Chris Jackson and Williamson in the backcourt.
Chris Jackson for three.
You cannot back off him.
So quick on the release, and it's 5-3 LSU. Great entry pass by Anderson to Scott. Scott had it blocked by O'Neal. Roberts on the other end. In the paint. Scott's foul on the other end. No. Scott picks up the foul.
After the basket, quick inbound pass, and Scott was open, but boy, did those two pachyderms from LSU, the big guys, hustle down and get there to help create the charge.
It's going to be interesting to see how much Georgia Tech starts adjusting their shots after what's happened here in the first 3 minutes. LSU by 4. Jackson again, same spot. No good this time. Scott lost it. It'll be LSU ball. Dayton trying to pull off the upset over Arkansas. They've already done it to Illinois. Earlier, Connecticut by 20 as the Huskies, the #1 seed, advance. Clemson's Twin Towers inside a winner over LaSalle. Williamson, free with the right hand, followed by Singleton.
Pass break of Georgia Tech really not working right now, as the inside people of LSU have taken it away, and their offense has been perky.
Brian Oliver for three, short. Williamson and Jackson bringing it up. Williamson flies in. Bobby Cremins might need a timeout. His team trails by 8.
LSU was the team that elected to run with Loyola and Marymount and beat them at their own game.
Johnny McNeil in low, lost the handle, turnover Georgia Tech.
Going to see the fast break off the rebound, and once it gets into the guard's hands, Chris Jackson, off the wing they go. The little guy, not much of a finish. Williamson can't get up and stuff it, but boy, is he fast to the hoop.
LSU's jumped out on Georgia Tech 11-3. Just about 4 minutes into the ball game. Williamson down in to Shaquille O'Neal. Off the glass.
Now they're just shooting right over the top of the Tech players right now. O'Neal is not nearly big enough.
Malcolm Mackey has Georgia Tech's only field goal. He's got the ball on top. McNeil got O'Neal in the air. Had blocked by Roberts.
Wow.
15:34 to go first half, and Georgia Tech in a big hole early.
And leave behind those toys of youth, which though they may runneth fast and give pleasure to the soul, yet leave no room for family.
The Mitsubishi Galant Sports Sedan. It's not only fast and gives pleasure to the soul, it leaves plenty of room for family. Yay. For added pleasure, factory-to-dealer incentives can save you up to $1,000.
Who gives you guaranteed morning delivery in the U.S. for just $8.75?
We deliver, we deliver.
Delivery to over 95.
Yea, there comes a time in the life of a man and a woman when they must assume the responsibilities of adulthood and leave behind those toys of youth, which though they may runneth fast and give pleasure to the soul, yet leave no room for family.
The Mitsubishi Galant sports sedan. It's not only fast and gives pleasure to the soul, it leaves plenty of room for family. Yay! For added pleasure, factory-to-dealer incentives can save you up to $1,000.
Who gives you guaranteed morning delivery in the U.S. for just $8.75?
We deliver.
Delivery to over 95 countries worldwide for just $10.75.
We deliver.
With 46,000 drop-off points coast to coast.
We deliver.
Only express mail service from your post office. Because when it comes to sending it overnight or overseas,
we deliver for you.
Gene Barry as Bat Masterson, Hugh O'Brien as Wyatt Earp, John Schneider as Pat Garrett. Legends unite to save Lee Horsley in Paradise. A Gathering of Guns, tonight at 9.
What does size mean in a game? Well, right here you're going to see the size advantage Roberts has over,
over Johnny McNeil.
Johnny McNeil, and you're going to see a little up fake, and there's the next big guy, Roberts, standing right there. You can get by one maybe with a good fake, but not two.
An 11-0 run in the last 3 minutes, 12 seconds for LSU, and Georgia Tech's put themselves in a big hole, trailing by 10. Anderson going to try to create on his own, and he's going to be called for the foul.
Kenny Anderson was looking with anticipation to penetrate against these big guys and try and dish off.
LSU 6 out of 10. Georgia Tech 1 for 9. Chris Jackson brings it up, and Carl Brown in now defensively for Georgia Tech.
And Georgia Tech has gone to their smallest lineup. And right now, they're going to pick on the smallest player on the front line of Georgia Tech.
That'll be Dennis Scott.
And he's going to play one of those big guys.
Georgia Tech trailing by 12. Carl Brown, and he has it blocked. Jackson pushes it. Can't get it. Oliver will clear it off for Georgia Tech, and the Yellow Jackets run up 3-on-3. Scott's jumper. He can't run into range. LSU 2-on-1.
As the big guy, Willie Ware down. Can they keep running?
Bobby Cremens says, let's talk it over. We're down 14.
Shaquille O'Neal out in front of the fast break. Wow. You're going to see him. Ends up with the ball. They're going to pitch it to him. A beautiful tap pass to Singleton to cap a beautiful fast break.
Attention, please. This area is for the loading and unloading of passengers only. Please stay in line. Keep left. Merge right. No shirt, no shoes, no service, no pets, no parking, no standing, no camping, no excuses.
If the trials and tribulations of everyday life are getting you down, Kawasaki is happy to offer some fast relief.
Have fun.
Oh, and you know, it sounds good. That's why I sell insurance.
She won't get to heaven or avoid. She's a friend of the church because she takes the church at heart.
Pastors get so involved in their ministry that they forget about worldly things.
These pastors trust Adrian Yurko with their life insurance. She's been with New York Life for 7 years, and with their church for 9.
Oh, she has my support. She's got my money, too.
New York Life, the company you keep.
My grandson will thank me 20 years from now.
To perfect the new Lexus ES250, our engineers had to spend many long days on the test track. But with standard amenities such as fine-grained wood and a 6-speaker high-output audio system, at least they had excellent working conditions. presenting the Lexus ES250, the luxury sedan of sports sedans.
The NCAA tournament many times brings out the best. And with a 17-3 lead, that's how it makes a coach feel. Dale Brown hoping his team can get to the Sweet 16, and they're off to a sweet start here.
Well, with Georgia Tech's small lineup, Roberts going to have to go out on the perimeter and play somebody. And a three-point shooting game that's been so effective for Georgia Tech, they've got to get it going.
This guy has to score for them.
I mean, against this small lineup, LSU is willing to go man-to-man still.
Scott posts up this. That's goaltending on O'Neal. So Scott's first basket ends up out in the second row.
You can afford to get up close on Scott if you've got two shot blockers like O'Neal and Roberts there. And Singleton is in Scott's jersey.
Almost 5 minutes for Georgia Tech to get a basket, and it didn't even go through the nets. Williamson outside for three.
They may have the two smallest guards, but boy, can they hit from the outside.
Oliver's been short on every shot. Here's the outlet to Williamson if he can run it down. Saves it to Singleton.
When you're 7'3", or you can look over the top of the defense and find guys streaking up the court.
Kelly Anderson for three. LSU by 14.
Scott has got O'Neal.
Singleton, great move on the baseline, and a chance for a three-point play.
What most teams have been doing to play the big people of LSU is use Singleton's man to go down and collapse and cause problems. And here you're going to see that happening, but that leaves Singleton wide open with easy moves to the hoop. All he needs is a pass, and his great leaping ability takes him to the hoop before you can really stop him.
Singleton already with 8 points. He had only 9 the other day in round one. Dayton and Arkansas tied up.
Well, he gives them a three-man fast break attack because he's got that speed. They throw three at you real fast, and they got the rebounding with the two big guys to make the fast break happen.
The backdoor cut by Scott, and he missed in close, got his own rebound. Can't get the hook. O'Neal will clear it.
And guess who was on the wing? Roberts.
Stanley Roberts. And he covers up the whole wing and then some. Georgia Tech will get it back out of bounds. Williamson lost it. Dale Brown, the second winningest coach in SEC history. Look what the Tigers have done to Georgia Tech early. Scott around a pick. Didn't quite have enough time to let it go. Whistle and a foul on Williamson as he was guarding Kenny Anderson.
Now committed by Williamson. His first.
Georgia Tech has not really established their outside game at all, as LSU has pinned them out there on the perimeter. Everybody in an Anderson's jersey or Scott's jersey.
Basket good by Anderson. And that might help to spark Georgia Tech a bit as Williamson picks up his second foul in about 5 seconds.
Well, they've gone to their main man. It hasn't worked, but here's a guy that could put some moves on a smaller player. Williamson. That's a layup? Or was that? Wow.
Freshman, ACC, freshman of the year.
He's not a point guard. He makes things happen for other people. You don't diagram on paper what he does.
LSU 17-point lead has been cut to 13. O'Neal makes a nice catch and wheels for the one-hander.
Georgia Tech has gone back to its big lineup.
He has 8 points. Again, a 15-point LSU lead. Mackey in low against Roberts. Well, he's not intimidated. At least he took the shot. Scott follows. Mackey again. Blocked, but fouled, I believe. Or are they going to call it on Mackey?
You know, when you're underneath there looking after grabbing a rebound to score a basket, you look for what I call blue sky. There's nothing but thunderclouds there right now for these guys at the white jerseys trying to put it back up. There is no blue sky.
Stanley Roberts is going to get a breather. Harold Boudreau will check in. Brian Oliver, who's been short on all his shots tonight. He's playing with a stress fracture in his ankle, and it might be affecting the way he pushes off for his jump shot. Carl Brown will sit out, and Oliver back in there. Malcolm Mackey, a freshman out of Chattanooga. He used all of it. He has 3 points. He was heavily recruited to come here and play at Tennessee and opted for Atlanta and Georgia Tech. He's been a good freshman for Bobby Cremins. Second one won't go. LSU clears it off, and they bring it up by 14. That one's too hard for Singleton. Scott takes it off the glass. Oliver finally got that one to go in.
Well, that's what Georgia Tech needs. And LSU, if they turn the ball over, Tech will jump on it.
We've just worked our way under 11 minutes to go first half. 26-14 LSU. O'Neal's been perfect from the spot. This time he's fouled.
Going to see a real good alley-oop pass, and Oliver with the catch and goes up strong, but he is out in front. He is the finisher. He's not going up cramming them like he normally could do, but they need him out in the front of the break to make it effective so that Scott can come down and shoot the threes after the defense caves in a little bit.
Shaquille O'Neal's been hitting those line drives from the field and now does so from the free throw line. Carl Brown will check back in for Georgia Tech, and Malcolm Mackey is going to get a breather. So Georgia Tech back to their small lineup time.
What they're hoping to do is pull out Stanley Roberts or O'Neal out onto the perimeter, or at least get one of those shot blockers out of there.
O'Neal all right.
Do against shot blockers, either drop the ball on the floor or put it off the glass over the top of this man. Have the man who that shot blocker was defending go for the offensive rebound.
Anderson can't connect. LSU comes down. They've got Georgia Tech doubled, 28-14. They double on O'Neal. That leaves Williamson open, and he threw an air ball that Brian Oliver pulled off the backside. Another goaltending on O'Neal, his second.
And I mean to tell you, Shaquille O'Neal was one of the, he's probably the quickest man on that size I've ever seen. He's back against the front end of the fast break. Wow.
That cuts it to a 12-point LSU lead. Here's O'Neal on the other end. Again, they double down on him. Anderson tried to help out for a moment and to find his own man. O'Neal finally missed off the glass, but he got his own rebound. Carl Brown will pick up the foul. That's his first. 9:58 to go first half. And LSU jumped out early on Georgia Tech, and they really haven't let up on Bobby Cremins Yellow Jackets. 28-16 as Stanley Roberts checks back in, as does Randy Duvall.
Well, Bobby Cremins, I think, with his Club challenged the strength of LSU to see how strong it was. It's pretty strong, huh?
Chris Jackson, nice move on Brown. Took an off-balance shot, not a good one for the All-American. And here comes Georgia Tech. Dennis Scott.
Now that's what they do well, Oliver and Anderson. Excellent middleman, good decisions in that fast break.
Georgia Tech cuts it to 10. This was a 17-point lead at one stage. Missed three-pointer. Kenny Anderson pulls it off for Georgia Tech, and he'll bring it up.
Singleton is hanging right there with Scott, trying to deny him the ball.
LSU has Roberts on Carl Brown, a guard. What a mismatch. O'Neal with his third block.
As Oliver off the dribble just pushes it down to the wingman, Scott, and before those big guys can get back to do anything, they get a layup. That's what they're going to have to do to keep those big guys out of the shot block department. But O'Neal is so fast that he can get back and stop even those.
You saw the blocks. O'Neal and Roberts have combined for 5 already, and O'Neal's going to get a breather, and Wayne Sims has checked in for LSU. Here's Dennis Scott. Nice drive for Scott. He has 6, and he's starting to warm up, but it's all inside. That cuts it to an 8-point game.
Well, Singleton's out there taking away his 3-point shot, and he's forcing him to one of the shot blockers. There's only one in the ball game right now. Tech could get back into it.
Here's Sims outside. Flings it off the iron, and Kenny Anderson clears it ahead to Oliver, a little bit too far in front.
When there's only one shot blocker in, that's the time to go. He beat Singleton, and Roberts really got picked off and out of the play, so he couldn't even attempt to block.
28-20, LSU. Stanley Roberts. Short. Brian Oliver picks it up. 5th rebound already for Oliver. Johnny McNeil, good. Move to the inside.
Stanley Roberts is going to the outside, not nearly as mobile as O'Neal is, and if you lift him, you got layup city.
Tech on an 11-4 run, and it's 28-22 LSU. Roberts baseline, in and out. Scott clears it off for Georgia Tech. And the Yellow Jackets can cut it to 4. And Williamson's going to pick up his 3rd foul, Tom. .7:41 to play first half. Bobby Crimmon's Yellow Jackets have fought back in it, trailing by 6.
My poor brother Tom, every time he tried to see what he was missing, he would miss what he was seeing. Then Tom got this amazing Magnavox TV that lets him watch one show while he checks out all the others on this remarkable little window.
Hey, that's a smart window, Dick.
That's what they call it, Tom.
They call it Tom?
No. They call it Smart Window, Tom.
I don't know. I kind of like Tom.
Magnavox. Smart choice. Very smart.
I told Greg he was crazy to start his own business. He won't have our resources. He won't have our computers.
I heard Greg Clancy went independent.
I wish I had his guts. He won't have our bureaucracy.
I'm having lots of fun.
This proposal is impressive.
Who are these guys, anyway?
Greg's a creative guy. Clancy's just a bean counter.
Macintosh has the power to make you independent. The power to be your best.
I love this game. I love to win. And I have. In college and in the pros. So I've had some experience celebrating. And you know, the way you celebrate says as much about you as the winning does. So do it right. Be responsible. Take care of yourself and your friends. Know when to say when.
A reminder from Budweiser. Sunday isn't always a day of rest. Tomorrow, catch a triple-header thriller as second-round excitement continues. It's March Madness Mania.
Dean Smith's Tar Heels pick off the top-ranked Sooners in the Midwest. Clemson came from way back to beat LaSalle. 12 of the top 16 still alive. The ACC is perfect. Georgia Tech is hoping not to blemish that mark as they trail LSU, but now it's only a 6-point difference, 28-22. Tech's made a nice run, Tom.
They have, but it's about to come to an end, I think, as Dale Brown has gone back to not the Twin Towers, but the Twin Pyramids, as Shaquem O'Neal is back in the ballgame.
We'll see how much Georgia Tech alters their shooting form with him back in there. He and Roberts do indeed fill up most of the paint. Both over 280, both over 7 feet tall. Dennis Scott posts up on Singleton. He's fouled as O'Neal rejects another one. That's Dennis Scott's mentality, though. He's not going to quit shooting because there's a couple of big guys in there.
Well, he's working against one man, and the other two guys, the big guys, are on the weak side of the court, just waiting for him to turn to the middle. That shot is not there. Against these guys, it's the perimeter game, really, that should be open. Somebody should be laying some picks on him and forcing O'Neal or Roberts to switch out. And then he can get by at least one of them.
Maybe what Bobby Cremins was telling Carl Brown over on the sideline. Meanwhile, Dennis Scott, who has 7 points, tries to cut it to a 4-point lead and can't, but Brian Oliver will keep it alive. Scott for 3, way out. He knew as soon as he let go that one wasn't going, but it comes off Stanley Roberts' foot. The Flyers and the Razorbacks. How about Dayton? Olin Richardson team having trouble.
44 Singleton back in for LSU.
Singleton will check back in. Harold Boudreau goes out, and Singleton will have the job of covering Dennis Scott again, I'm sure. Kenny Anderson.
They got one of the big guys guarding Carl Brown because they know he's not a shooter.
Brian Oliver got up in the air. Chris Jackson made him come down with it, and it's a turnover against Georgia Tech.
Well, that should have been a jump ball because he hits the ball, well, and he went to get it. That either a jump ball or he could have kept it.
Isn't that almost a change of possession?
Yep.
5-point LSU lead. Under 7 minutes to go first half, as you see. Roberts left it for Jackson. Call a foul underneath.
And then just to mess you up a little bit, they throw it into the low post with those 2 big guys and shoot the little guard, Chris Jackson, to the basket to really confuse your mind.
And Jackson was fouled by Carl Brown before the shot, so LSU ball on their own baseline. O'Neal, Scott's trying to get it away from him and can't. And slapped his hand in the process, so Dennis Scott picks up his second foul.
You know, Dale Brown at the beginning of the year said this team does not have any senior leadership, and really the team was searching for a leader, and guess who he thinks the natural leader of the ball club is?
The big freshman.
The big freshman, Shaquille O'Neal. He said he is our natural leader. Everybody goes to him. He's got the type of personality. Jackson isn't a guy. He's a quiet person.
Dale Brown says so much is expected of Shaquille O'Neal, and he says everybody forgets he turned 18 about a week ago. He's just a kid, although he's a big one. And he has 11 points, and it's back to a 6-point Tiger lead. Anderson got 3 momentarily, didn't get the jumper, and Roberts pulls it off. There's the double on O'Neal. He gives it right back to Singleton. And what a follow by Roberts.
Kenny Anderson was trying to rebound, but they went over about 4 feet over his head, pull it down, tip it in.
Since O'Neal's come back in, Tech has hit another dry spell.
Well, they're trying to force it inside. They got to work some picks to get Scott open on the perimeter.
Here's a pick for Oliver. Scott sent it. Oliver can't deliver. Singleton.
In fact, that's not a bad move. Because Singleton isn't going to switch, and whoever uses a Scott pick is going to be wide open.
Chris Jackson has 5. LSU opens it up to a 10-point lead again. Quick pass down low, knocked away by Singleton. Bobby Crimmins in his 9th year at Georgia Tech. He's going to bring one of his big guys back in, Johnny McNeil. Comparatively speaking, not that big, though. It's 6'9" compared to what LSU has to offer. Kenny Anderson picked up by Randy Duvall now. Oliver open for 3. And we're going to foul underneath. It'll be on Roberts. Georgia Tech would love to get those big guys in foul trouble. Dayton still in front of Arkansas. North Carolina wins. Rick Fox hits in the final seconds. Michigan State here, a 4-point winner. UNLV is advanced to the Sweet 16. Ball State continues the Cinderella story as they pick off Louisville. Connecticut big. Clemson coming from behind to take care of LaSalle.
Looks like Jim O'Brien there from Dayton learned a few lessons from Rick Pitino.
Malcolm Mackey with 4 points.
Jim O'Brien was assistant coach to Rick Pitino on the Knicks. All that full court pressure and 3-point shooting, that goes a long way.
And it's been poured back into the college ranks. 8-point game, LSU in front, 33-25. With Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brad Nessler. Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville. This is round 2 of the Southeast Regional. LSU jumped out in front early, and they've maintained their lead throughout, although Georgia Tech at one point had cut it to 4. Jackson threw up an air ball. The other night, Chris Jackson, we thought, got a little frustrated that he couldn't get into the offensive flow of things in their first-round game, Tom.
Well, what Raleigh Massimino did in his Villanova ball club is deny him the ball as much as possible. Stuck a man in his jersey with him so you couldn't actually get him the ball. Here he's going to be a little bit more open, have a chance to move with it. Run the ball club, use some picks, find his shot.
Under 4.5 in the first half, and Roberts works inside on Mackey.
You got to get out on Jackson. That doesn't leave much room to go back and help out against the big guys.
Scott simply has to get warmed up from 3-point land for Georgia Tech, and so far he hasn't hit one from out there. Last touch by LSU.
Well, would it go up? Went off the referee.
35-25. LSU by 10. Approaching the 4-minute mark first half. Kenny Anderson wheels for a jumper, and he was fouled in the act. Randy Duvall.
What a tough team to play against this LSU team. Any team used to taking things to the basket better find a new way to play the game, because O'Neal and Roberts are just going to deny you everything. And Singleton isn't bad for a quick forward either. He played center last year, so he's used to being the anchor in the paint.
Kenny Anderson from Rego Park, New York, with 6 points. Make it 7. He has the country in that category. So it hasn't been an assist kind of night for Kenny Anderson yet.
Kenny Anderson made All-City New York 4 straight years. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar only made it 3 times.
He was a legend in high school ball in New York. In fact, his jersey is in the Basketball Hall of Fame because of those 4 straight years that Tommy talked about. Johnny McNeil. He doesn't take many of those.
Well, Johnny, you're going to be wide open on pop-outs. As a guy that could take the penetration and find him.
Chris Jackson got no help in the backcourt. 5-second call. Nobody there to throw it into. A major mistake by LSU. 35-28 Tigers.
Saturday morning in Ford County.
I see you got a new Chevy. Yep. That's a pretty smart buy when you amortize the cost of depreciation as it relates to inflation in the GNP.
Yep.
In fact, when compared with Ford Ranger, Chevy S10 has held more of its value model years 1984 through 88.
Yep, and they say they've been worth more when you trade them in, too. A tradition of higher resale value. No wonder people from Ford prefer Chevy trucks. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. Yep.
Bob, 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 the rubber rain, take my hand.
So what do you think Mom's gonna do when we both show up out of the blue?
Hopefully she'll feed us.
Listen, you want to talk about your love life?
No.
Well, I don't mean your love life now. I mean your old love life. You know, it's amazing that every girl you went out with in high school was blonde. I see. Whoa, gee. Just thinking how much time we could spend not together.
One day it could all come down to a few inches. For those few inches, it's good to know you have Goodyear tires.
Everything changes and everything stays the same. This is good. I guess they're home. I miss you. I miss you too.
That's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
UNLV and Ball State have already advanced to the Sweet 16. Ohio State had to go overtime in their first-round game. May have taken something out of them. Jerry Tarkanian's running Rebels advanced to meet Ball State in the West Regional. Ball State's been the giant killer so far.
Well, you know, Louisville had some problems with that Idaho team early in the ballgame and then stepped out in front. But they usually try and bring that Louisville team along step by step so that they're at their best as they reach the tournament. Didn't look like it happened this year.
Georgia Tech down 7 as we approach the 3.5-minute mark. Dennis Scott open around a pick, way out for 3.
Now they're going to shake him loose. They're using 2 picks to get him out there. No single defender can go out and fight off 2 picks against a good shooter.
Entry pass to O'Neal, doesn't get it off the glass. He and Mackey fight for it. Gonna call a foul on Malcolm Mackey.
He is trying to, Scott is trying to shed Singleton. Here's the first pick, the second pick, and Scott, a quick shooter, that's all he needs is that little time to get the shot off. But most of the game, Scott was fighting Singleton, who was in his jersey. You got to knock him off a little bit. Otherwise, Scott's going to be in for a tough day.
Shaquille O'Neal will go to the free throw line already with 11 points. His high of the season, 26 against Lamar. 20 times he had double-doubles. And you can tell why by watching him here in the first 17 minutes. He can get up in the air.
Boy, is he light, too. He just bounces on his toes up the court.
Shaquille O'Neal with 13. At the 3-minute mark, Georgia Tech down 37-31. And Singleton called for the foul as he tried to work his way through a pick.
And there is the double teams once again, or double picks to try and shake Scott loose, and Singleton trying to get through ends up fouling.
Coming up at halftime, Jim Nantz will bring you up to date on the road to the Final Four. Scores and highlights from other games already today. And you'll know who's heading to the Sweet 16. Several teams already in. 6, in fact, in. Georgia Tech and LSU battling to become another. And Johnny McNeil has played a pretty good game so far for Bobby Cremins. 5 points for the senior out of High Point, North Carolina.
Well, he could have a field day on any kind of penetration. The 2 shot blockers are going to go to the ball. That should turn him loose on the offensive board. Either that or give him a wide open jump shot on the baseline.
McNeil with 6. Again, it's a 4-point LSU lead. Dayton and Arkansas now dead even. Roberts double team. Leaves it off for Singleton. Here's Roberts. Nice turn. Too hard. Neal picked it up on the backside, though, and scored.
Well, Mackey did a great job of blocking out O'Neal, but O'Neal just went right over the top, standing still.
15 points for the freshman. And again, it's a 6-point Tiger lead. Scott wants a pick from Mackey. Finally got it. Hard off the glass. Chases it down and keeps it alive. And we're going to have a foul on Chris Jackson.
Let's watch O'Neal on this play on the weak side as the shot goes up, and Mackey really puts a body on him. And look how easily just comes up with the rebound. I mean, Mackey was as great a position as you could be in to block O'Neal out.
How big can you possibly be at 18 years old? In his case, 7'1", 286, and he has done the job in the paint. 10 field goals to go with his 5 free throws. Here's Georgia Tech senior captain Brian Oliver.
You know, a player his age at that size, he is so coordinated. I mean, you look at the difference between Stanley Roberts and O'Neal, and Roberts a little bit older, not nearly as quick or as coordinated, and he's pretty well coordinated. But O'Neal is outstanding.
Oliver has matched his points with his rebounds, 7 of each, and again, LSU's lead cut to 4. Georgia Tech better hustle back on defense. Roberts with the follow on the Singleton miss.
They beat the press. That's what happened. Take it to the hoop.
Scott had a 3 go in and out. And a foul on Stanley Roberts. And now Roberts with 3.
One of the things that Dale Brown gets most concerned about is that these officials don't know how to referee big guys. They just touch somebody and they fall down. You got to give them a chance to play. But it makes it doubly tough on officials who aren't used to seeing big guys like this play and calling like contact. I can remember a couple of years ago when Patrick Ewing was at Georgetown, coaches used to slide a point guard up underneath him, and you'd never see him. As soon as he turned around, the guy would fall down, and they'd call an offensive foul on him. And that's what Dale Brown is afraid will happen to O'Neal.
Around to see what really goes on. Johnny McNeil, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, and again he can cut LSU's cushion to 4. That one came out, and O'Neal pulls it down for LSU. They run it up in a hurry. Here's Sims in the paint. Singleton, nice offensive rebound, and he's fouled. 1:41 to go in the half. 41-36. Johnny McNeil picks up his second personal. Georgia Tech can ill afford to get their big men in foul trouble because they don't have any type of depth. Mackey and McNeil each with 2.
I tell you, Mackey's been playing for a freshman rather smart himself. Even though he got beaten on that rebound by O'Neal, he played him the way you're supposed to play him. He didn't go for the rebound himself. He just tried to contain O'Neal. You don't get in foul trouble that way.
Singleton misses the first of 2. And the second as well. Down to 1:30 now remaining first half. Scott posted up low. How many shots has Dennis Scott had go in and out? Kenny Anderson. This is as close as Georgia Tech has been in a long time. Anderson plays for the steal.
His third.
1:05 to go in the half. James Munlin checks in for Georgia Tech. Johnny McNeil will get a breather. Singleton will go to the free throw line. We welcome our viewers from the Dayton, Arkansas game to Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee, where LSU jumped all over Georgia Tech and led by 17. But Georgia Tech has dwindled it down to 41-38 with 1:05 to go in the half.
Well, what happened was that Georgia Tech tried to attack the 2 big guys, take the ball inside, Shaquille O'Neal and Stanley Roberts, and they were eating them up alive with blocking shots. Georgia Tech has become a little bit more discreet, shooting on the outside, their normal game.
Dennis Scott over O'Neal. That's an air ball. Had to adjust the 3-point shot. Chris Jackson's going to bring it down against Carl Brown. Offensive foul on Jackson. Again, Georgia Tech had the first field goal of the game, and then LSU just took over. And there you see what they've shot. Georgia Tech's been ice cold. They've helped themselves with offensive rebounds. Shaquille O'Neal, 15 points and 4 blocks. Chris Jackson, only 5 points. And Bobby Cremon Yellow Jackets are going to feel like they are Irish lucky if they can go into the locker room only down a point, and they're going to play for the final shot.
Well, Georgia Tech got back into this ball game primarily because Dale Brown was forced to take one of his big guys out, those 2 pyramids. And I think that's when Georgia Tech started to get their running game going, and they crawled back into it. Now this little guy outside, as a freshman, he's taking charge.
Shot clock is off. That's the game clock until halftime down in the corner of your screen. Kenny Anderson penetrates. Got it off the glass. Jackson, not much time. Singleton at the buzzer. Bobby Cremon's Yellow Jackets somehow found a way to fight back in, and they trailed Dale Brown's LSU Tigers by only 1. End of the first half. The score, LSU 41, Georgia Tech 40. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Apple Computer, the power to be your best. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when.
Your first house, the biggest investment you've ever made. How will you protect it? Call Allstate before you close for answers and comforting prices. Another reason.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
There's another way for new homeowners to save money. The Allstate New House Discount. It could save you up to 15% on Allstate homeowners insurance. Another reason.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Send up the crow's foot. Give me an act check.
There's a place in the friendly skies where not everyone's so friendly.
Stop. Hold it. I need 3 hours minimum. Check it out.
Over 9,000 mechanics of United Airlines work here.
Give me a mini grinder.
They're picky, fussy, stubborn. But if you fly, they're the best friends you'll ever have. United, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
Get into a new thing. Hot wings. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Looks great, Dave. When's she gonna let you drive it?
Hot wings. New hot wings from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It's powerful. A new kind of protection. Speed Stick Deodorant Sport Talc. Made just for a man. New Speed Stick Sport Talc. Powerful all-day protection. Dweezil Zappa. Starring in Normal Life. Moon Zappa. Starring in Normal Life, not your normal comedy. And Valerie Bertinelli's back in a glamorous new role.
Hi.
She's knocking the men off their feet.
I just kind of like sneak up on them and get them when their pants are down.
Dweezil Zappa, Normal Life. Valerie Bertinelli, Sydney. Premieres Wednesday on CBS.
This is CBS.
Well, Lethal Weapon 3 fights back from 17 down, pulls within 1 at the half in Knoxville, 41-40. As we bring you back to our studios, again, St. Patrick's Day greetings to you. Jim Nance along with Mike Francesa. A one-point game there, and a similar story in the game that's taking place in Austin. A big comeback right before the half, turned in by the Arkansas Razorbacks. They scored the final 11 points of the first half to tie up the Dayton Flyers 42-42. What about that game, Mike? How did they come back?
Arkansas settled down. They had turned the ball over a lot early in the game. Remember one thing, Nolan Richardson has to be happy at the half. His star, Lee Mayberry, no points in the first half, averages 15 a game.
Okay, we'll look for that in the second half. We'll be updating that game, of course, throughout the second half of LSU Georgia Tech. In the meantime, we continue on the baseball front. Jim Gray has been standing by the last 2 days at the Summit Hotel here in New York. Right now, he stands by with some interested baseball players about the lockout. Let's go to Jim right now.
Well, Jim, we're standing by with some of the negotiating members. 26 of them, the player reps, just finished meeting with Union Chief Don Fear. They have decided to support the union, continue that support. They do not accept the owner's latest proposal. Why not, Oral? What was wrong with that proposal?
Well, the main reason was, of course, the salary arbitration gap has not been bridged, and the other issues have not been bridged. The whole negotiations have always been narrowed down to salary arbitration, and it's really not true. Some of the other issues have not been solved. The minimum, the rosters, collusion language, all different things across the board have not been solved. But the whole push from the owner's side and most of the media was trying to narrow this to one issue, and it really hasn't been one issue the whole time. It's been a multitude of issues.
Well, with that multitude of issues, apparently now, Paul Molitor, there is a lot more to be solved. Do you have a crystal ball? It seems like April 2nd is totally unreasonable, isn't it?
Well, it does seem that way. I don't know how that could possibly happen at this time. Like Oral said, we offers in certain areas. However, the one main problem area for the players being the 2 to 3 player category, and since that was not addressed, it wasn't a very difficult decision for our board to reject their latest proposal.
Also joining us is Dave Winfield. Dave, I want to ask you, how many clubs and how many player reps urged the union to take the current proposal?
I'll tell you what, with the 26 there, you don't have any sign of that. There are people, when you have 700 and some odd people, it's hard to have 100% of the people behind it. But overall, and the people who are, they have expressed confidence in the negotiating team, Don Fehr, and the proposals just were not quite adequate.
Seems to be no reason for optimism, is there?
Well, you always have optimism that something can be resolved, and I'm sure in the short run or the long run, there will be a conclusion and there will be baseball this year. I feel that way personally, but we haven't reached that point yet.
Looks like it's going to be the long run, Jim Nance.
All right, well, Jim Gray, thank you. Here's a Big Ten score that Dave Winfield out of Minnesota might be interested in. The 1 seed in the Southeast, Michigan State over Cal Santa Barbara today, 62-58 to advance to the Sweet 16. Of course, dressed in green. Well, maybe not the fans, but the players wore green and white for Michigan State. It worked here on St. Patrick's Day, and there's the dunk by Stevens. Jerry Pimm's team tried to slow it down, Mike. Not a pretty game, really.
Really wasn't. Michigan State got it done on the defensive end, held UC Santa Barbara 32% from the floor, and Eric MacArthur, who we had talked about, to just 8 points.
All right, and Michigan State now will wait to find out its next opponent. It'll be either LSU or Georgia Tech. The shocker today, well, actually, there were a couple of them. This one, though, takes precedence because Oklahoma, the first 1 seed to fall, losing at the buzzer to North Carolina, the 8 seed, down in Austin. Rick Fox firing them up from three-point range. He led the Tar Heels with 23. After a free throw, the game is tied, closing seconds, and Brent had the call.
They'll come through Davis, and he'll come to Fox. Fox comes down the baseline and hits it. Carolina wins it. Carolina upsets OU.
What a great group. I told you I was happy with them all year, but I begged them in half, hey, do one thing for me, and I got on my knees and said, win.
He begged, he got the win, and North Carolina now moves to Dallas in the Sweet 16. 10 straight years the Tar Heels have made the round of the Sweet 16, Mike.
And when you think about it, Dean Smith, an underdog, Jim, every year we've had this tournament, he's been one of the teams to beat. Go back to 1979. Since then, they'd only been lower than a 3 seed. This year, they've been at least a 3 every other time. So he wasn't the favorite this year, and he surprised somebody, a number 1 seed out.
A beleaguered bunch during the season, and now proving critics wrong today. All right, the other Cinderella, Ball State, a 2-point win against Louisville, 62-60. And in this game, Louisville fought back from 17 down, had a shot to win it at the buzzer, a 3-point try from Everett Sullivan misfiring at the buzzer. There's Rick Majerus, the former Ball State coach who's now out at Utah and watched on the floor out there at Utah as his former team went in front. What a great slam by Chandler Thompson. Here's the shot at the end. Sullivan's shot misfiring, and Dick Hunsaker, the coach now at Ball State, moves on.
Tremendous amount of heart. We competed for 40 minutes. They made run after run after run at us. We kept them at bay. You know, what can you say about the courage of these kids to hang in against that team? And, you know, what a moment. You know,
Ball State will now go against UNLV, the 1 seed out there, victorious over Ohio State as the Buckeyes lose for the 4th straight time in the tournament in the 2nd round. UNLV opened up midway in the 2nd half. Clemson again comes from 19 down to win today against LaSalle, knocking off the 4th seed in the East. Next up for the Clemson Tigers, the Big East bunch from Connecticut, 20-point win over California. The Bears scored the first 2 points, then Connecticut scored 17 unanswered and really was never threatened thereafter. Tomorrow, here's the lineup. St. John's and Duke at 12 Eastern time. All the country gets this except for the West Coast, and then 3 games follow this one up. Check your local listings, but it'll be either Virginia-Syracuse, that's a Southeast region game, Texas against Purdue in the Midwest, UCLA-Kansas, that is an East Coast matchup, East region matchup. And then it's Loyola-Marymount against Michigan. Xavier against Georgetown of the Midwest, as the Midwest now opens up with the Oklahoma loss, and Northern Iowa against Minnesota, and that Northern Iowa team that beat Missouri now moves on and plays Minnesota tomorrow. That's the late action here on CBS. Now, for those of you in the West Coast and in the state of Alabama, you'll get another game. It's Alabama against Arizona. That will close it out, second round, as we move on the road to the Final Four. All right, we're getting set for the second half back in Knoxville. It's Georgia Tech and LSU, a 1-point game. We'll return in just a moment.
People keep asking me how it felt to be in the first Jamaican bobsled team. Well, let me tell you, man, it was cold, freezing. See, coming from Jamaica, the only thing I like cold is Miller Lite. Light's not some watered-down version of your regular beer. It's a less filling beer that really tastes great. And let me tell you, man, Jamaican bobsledders will be ready in 92. Keep trading on. Going for the gold next time.
You gotta believe when it's Miller Lite, less filling, tastes great.
To order your copy of the official NCAA night...
Take that jumper. Brent, as I said, Mayberry leads the nation in field goal shooting percentage from the three-point line. He's 0 for 4 out there today.
Run down by Dayton. That's Ray Springer.
2-3 zone by Arkansas.
Punch to Corbett, short on the shot. Credits rebound. Credit gets it back for the easy layup.
As Corbett was still down at the other end of the floor, nobody picking up.
Now Knight penetrates and uses the jump shot.
Good rebound.
And bang, just like that, Nolan Robinson adds 2 more. Averages less than 9 a game, has scored 16 here against Arkansas. The foul called against Dayton. Boy, the Heroes are not playing like it.
Well, they aren't. Knight 1 for 7, but as I said, in fairness to him, he got hammered on 2 of those 7 shots not called. Mayberry just 0 for 4 from the outside.
Okay, the main goal that any set of officials have.
One of its great successes in NCAA tournament play.
And you think of a club like Louisville that lost today in a heartbreaker. They also lost in that game. U.S. Reed from half court threw it in to beat Denny Crumb's club.
Howell scoring, keeping the Razorbacks there. That's 17 points for Howell in this game.
Of course, Dayton, there you see Oliver Miller sitting back and relaxing. And if Nolan Richardson saw that scene, he'd have that towel right on his head.
He was looking for a few nachos, too,
yeah, he's probably annoyed at me.
Tied again at 46.
Arkansas has been able to get nothing off the press.
This time they
still
do.
there. First time today.
Mayberry from behind. He is so slick at that, as Razorback fans know all season long. He's able to come in behind the man with the ball. Now, still can't get it cooking, and there's contact underneath and put the field goal down. Chance for a 3-point play. The foul is against Coffey.
Here's the first time today that Arkansas was able to turn it on the press. Everybody picking up. And actually, Dayton almost had it beat, but good quick hands from the backside. Day going to go now to the foul line.
They're just...
Time I see him, he started off at about a 6'6" freshman last year, and now he's up there pushing 6'8" or 9.
A 3-point Razorback lead. Now you wonder how the Flyers have performed coming from the backside. And that should answer the question as Springer makes it a 1-point game. And quickly, Mayberry to the attack.
Good job by Knight on defense that time. Mayberry had him in the open court one-on-one.
Off Credit's hands on the turnover. Knight comes right back with a beautiful move at midcourt. And they follow up. Look what I've got.
Give Murray an assist on that play. He made a steal and then put it right back in Dayton's hands. And just when you think this Dayton team is ready to go down, they come right back with some great help.
You should have 15 points, having a spectacular game scoring. Howell on the drive, and he's fouled. Watch this move in the open floor, Billy. It was beautiful.
It certainly was. Beat his man, then he has the little drop-off pass, and that's where Murray touched it. But Robinson, who's been the man of the hour throughout this ball game, puts it right back up inside. Very good score. Robinson averaging just 9.9 a game, so he's actually doubling his production here today. And in the, he picks up right where he came from the MCC tournament. Had 42 points in those 3 games, 19 of 27 from the field, so he's been on some hot streak.
Game is tied. Ewell loses the handle.
Could be Howell.
Foul is against Howell.
I think they might start doing it now.
Minnesota from the field so far, shooting 40%.
Basketball champ.
Good block that time by Howell, but right into the hands of Corbett. And they call the hell ball, and it will go over. Ball goes over to Arkansas with the score tied at 50, 16-58. The Razorbacks break back with Howell fouled. He'll come to the line to shoot a pair.
That was a two-handed chest pass by Mayberry. Instead of the baseball pass, went about 70 feet. Pretty difficult to do that.
Came back in the next 6 minutes with an 18-6 run and then scored a 9-4 edge on LSU in the final 3 minutes. And that, coupled with missed free throws by the Tigers, has Georgia Tech back in it.
LSU is in a zone right now, mainly to protect their big guys.
Here's Malcolm Mackey on the baseline. Singleton last touched it. It'll be Georgia Tech ball. Dayton and Arkansas playing right now, and a tough one. As Dayton has led much of that game, Arkansas is inched in front in the second half.
You know, when you play a team like Princeton that slows you down and makes you change things, it's hard to get back into your own ball game again, your own rhythm.
Georgia Tech leads for the first time since the beginning of the ball game. Oliver for 3.
Little pressure here, and that has been the bugaboo of LSU for several ball games.
Williamson flies in, and Roberts follows with some authority. He has 10. And now we're tied. Oliver open again. Same result.
The 1-3-1, that's giving Georgia Tech what they do best, the outside shot.
Backcourt pressure again, giving the Tigers some trouble. Watch that 10-second count. They just beat it. Williamson penetrates on a block by Mackey. He'll try it again. Got it back again. Finally scored. Tough little guy at 6 foot in there. On the glass and can't get it.
Have to be a little bit more selective.
Now they're running both ways. Blocking foul on Dennis Scott.
Going to see Williamson on the drive. Has it swatted, picks it up, finds another place to try and get it up. Not a good shot. Comes back with the rebound. Says This is my territory, right? Wrong, but right.
Finally got it.
I'm never, Red Auerbach used to say, I'm never wrong, but I'm always right.
Here's Stanley Roberts, who's done enough right to have 10 points tonight, making 11. That's his first trip to the free throw line. Dennis Scott has picked up his third foul, and that's not good news for Georgia Tech. There's the double-double for Stanley Roberts. O'Neal and Mackey fight for that rebound, and Mackey won that battle. Might be the first time tonight he's done so.
Back to a man-to-man by LSU, it looks like, as Stanley Roberts is going to go out and play the guard. Brown.
Brown's the one guy that's not a big scoring threat for Georgia Tech, and LSU's well aware of that. Brown will take maybe 3 shots a game at most. And we're going to whistle in a foul on Singleton, pushing off as Dennis Scott tried to post up on him, and that's 3 on Singleton.
Crimmon's saying to himself, hey, if he's going to play Brown, he's going to be out on the perimeter. That takes one shot blocker out of the vicinity. I'll try and get Scott back into that low post a little bit.
If Brown could make him pay for giving him so much room just once, it might change things. Anderson misses and O'Neal clears it. Tie game with 17:36 to go. Roberts can't connect. Mackey hangs in there and gets the rebound. Dennis Scott for 3. Didn't get the shooter's roll, not quite, and O'Neal has a second straight rebound. Chris Jackson working for a shot. Leaves it off to Singleton. O'Neal doesn't get the basket, but he does draw the foul, and now Malcolm Mackey has 3 personals. Arkansas has come back to take the lead on Dayton. And that's their biggest lead of that ball game in the second half in round 2 of the Midwest Regional. North Carolina's already advanced in the Midwest, and they'll meet the winner of that Dayton-Arkansas game. Carolina picking off #1 Oklahoma earlier. And that matchup would be next Thursday at Reunion Arena in Dallas. Shaquille O'Neal now is 16. Look at those numbers. 10 rebounds and 4 blocks. Missed the second free throw. Dennis Scott high for the rebound. Kenny Anderson for 3.
He does duck right behind that pick. That's a good way to get people open, is use your best scorer to set a pick every once in a while for somebody else. They never leave them.
Georgia Tech couldn't find the jump shots in the first half. This second half's been a different story, and Stanley Roberts has 5 this half, 13 for the game. We're tied again. Anderson drove in where the big fellas live, and Malcolm Mackey got his miss and was fouled.
Anderson is working for the three-pointer. Right now he's not on the ground, but you watch the pick here as Scott sets it. They're reluctant to go out and leave Scott, so that leaves just enough time for Anderson to get the shot off.
And Mackey was fouled as Shaquille O'Neal picks up his second foul. Roberts has 3. O'Neal has 2. Kenny Anderson weaves in. Malcolm Mackey's open. Can't get the jumper. Here comes a first-team All-American, Chris Jackson. Dennis Scott crashing the boards. Tied at 49. Oliver's hit from that spot twice already. We'll give and go with Dennis Scott. There's another block for O'Neal, his 5th, but Scott gets another chance, and Roberts picks it off. Williamson's 3. Scott's got 3 straight rebounds. Brian Oliver obviously adjusting his shot with 15:46 to go in the ball game. Georgia Tech and LSU tied at 49.
minute.
Uh-huh.
Are you?
Good job defensively, moving his feet much better than Bowers was at the beginning of the game.
There's Corbett on the inside, got his man up in the air. Great block by Clinic. The crowd wanted a foul called at that end.
No basket.
No basket.
We're going to see the ball going down low to Corbett. Pretty hard to believe that nobody got any piece of the arm. You can see what happened on the way up. The ball was hit by the elbow, and I think probably a good no call. Both teams going to the bench, Brent.
Connecticut a winner earlier today, so they move on.
Brent, how about the interesting story in regard to the fellow that recommended Jim O'Brien for the job, Jack Ramsey?
Well, he's married to Jack Ramsey's daughter.
You know, it's kind of funny.
Get my son.
The fellas that I've admired as far as basketball brains in the history of the game, Jack Ramsey, I was speaking of, and he said, well, I gave him 5 names, but my son-in-law went to the top of the list. Now, I don't blame him at all.
Jack Ramsey is one-time great coach, guided the Portland Trailblazers to an NBA championship.
No, another interesting thing today with LaSalle getting knocked out. Speedy Morris was Jim O'Brien's high school coach, so they came into the NCAA tournament having the longest win streaks at 22. Jim beat right behind him at 11.
Robinson.
They're going to the outside.
It's a gamble.
That's a walk. Ewell and Miller pounding each other down in low.
Mayberry still cannot find the range. He hits threes better than 50% of the time. And Springer comes back with the runner tapped up in
home for LSU.
Well, these two ball clubs that are currently playing right now really are outstanding teams. And I think Michigan State, unless they change form, we're going to have a tough time beating either one of these ball clubs down in the wall.
Scott all alone. You can't leave him out there. Georgia Tech matches their biggest lead.
Well, Scott keeps fighting that defense, the 2 shot blockers, to try and take it inside.
Singleton to O'Neal and the steal by Anderson. Here comes Tech. Anderson works to a baseline jumper. And Williamson comes out of there with it for the Tigers. Carl Brown picks up his 3rd foul. What a collision between those two guards. Brown's up, and Williamson now finally to his feet.
Here's Brown trying to get himself squared away and just kept moving, never really had him down as Williamson tried to angle off the hoop. Maurice Williamson's father is at the ball game today, and he is a great professional player. John Williamson.
Former NBA standout.
Oh, sure was. An ABA.
Here's his son, a sophomore. Played a good ball game.
There he is. And boy, could he put him up. John Williamson has not been enjoying the finest of health and got off the dialysis machine to come down here and see his son play.
And his son has played well with 9 points. Chris Jackson, only 2 out of 8 from the field, 5 points and a couple of assists. Georgia Tech, a 1-point lead after the free throws by Williamson. Again, there's Roberts, the big guy on Brown. And Harold Boudreau will be called for the foul as Dennis Scott again trying to work for position inside. Razorbacks and the Flyers having at it in the Midwest, and Arkansas, with 11:50 to go, has the lead. And Again, the winner of Dayton and Arkansas goes on to meet the Tar Heels of North Carolina, who, if you don't already know, picked off Oklahoma today. Boudreau goes out. It's Singleton, Williamson, Roberts, O'Neal, and Jackson for LSU. For Tech, Anderson, McNeil, Brown, Scott, and Oliver.
Out there defending Brown. He's not going to take a shot.
Scott got open behind a McNeil pick. Couldn't quite get it. Jackson penetrates, leads it for Roberts.
Great dish off by Chris Jackson. Went right to the hoop, felt the pressure, and he spotted one of those pyramids.
In that pyramid, Roberts has 15. The other, O'Neal, has 16. LSU edges back in front. Anderson can't get it. O'Neal can. He's already in double figures in rebounds. It's been an inside game for LSU.
And just shooting over the top of the big guys of Georgia Tech. And they have to be very careful not to get in foul trouble because there's not that much depth in the big man department for Georgia Tech.
This is LSU's biggest lead of the second half. A three-point cushion. Scott's fouled as he went up. Is it on O'Neal?
There's a great penetrating move by Chris Jackson. He heads to the baseline. And he hasn't done this very often, but under control, just knows where the man is, and there's Roberts for the thunder dunk.
LSU inside has done everything. Look at the points in the paint between O'Neal and Roberts. They've combined for a big edge in that category. Dennis Scott at the free throw line. And Scott, an 80% free throw shooter, has missed 2 of his 3 from the stripe tonight.
You know, and Crimmins are over on the sideline talking to Kenny Anderson, who every other day calls his mom. Homesick for Rigo Park.
He likes Atlanta, but mom gets a call, he says, every other day at least. O'Neal, McNeil. And here comes Kenny Anderson. Scott wanted to pull up and take the 3. Penetrates instead. A little finger roll too hard off the glass. Tech can tie or lead if that goes.
How do you run your offense against shot blockers? Much like Jimmy Valvano did with North Carolina State when they played Houston. Shoot over the top of it.
O'Neal fouled by Johnny McNeil. And Johnny McNeil picks up his 3rd. I know Bobby Crimmins would rather have that man have his 3rd than Dennis Scott, who was also battling trying to strip the ball free from Shaquille O'Neal. Tell you what, you better take some friends with you if you're going to try to pull the ball away from Shaquille O'Neal.
You heard the story about how he was recruited over in Germany. Dale Brown was over giving a clinic and saw this young man standing, said, Coach, would you show me a couple of things about basketball? He said, well, what's your job here, son? He said, I don't have a job here. He says, I'm only 13 years old. He says, you're only 13 years old. He says, go get your father. And it ended up being Shaquille O'Neal. So he got him when he was young. He looked like he was ready to play pro ball then.
And Dale Brown went in to find Sergeant O'Neal, Shaquille's father, in the sauna.
Right.
And Dale went in with his clothes on. Said, I kind of like your kid. He's 6'8" and he's only 13. LSU back in front by a point. Oliver with a drive. And he's fouled en route. It'll be on Jackson. That'll be 3 on Chris Jackson. Bobby Crimmins says the basket should have counted, that there should have been a goaltend at the end of that play. So Jackson has 3, Singleton 3, O'Neal 3, and Roberts 3. LSU with a little bit of foul trouble with 12:43 to go. Brian Oliver, Georgia Tech's senior captain, played his high school ball just up in Smyrna, Georgia, about 15 minutes north of Atlanta itself. Former Mr. Basketball in the state.
Was it a goal, Ken? Didn't look like it to me.
I don't think he touched it.
Nope.
Some of the shots look that way by how Georgia Tech's had to adjust things tonight against the big fellas. Brian Oliver gets the second, and he has 14. And we're tied again at 57.
When you play against shot blockers and you take it to the hoop, you really got to give up on the shot. If that made them move and made their commitment to you, shoot it on top, as high up on the glass, and in essence, pass it to a defender or a teammate off the backboard.
Singleton can't get it, got his own rebound and scored. Singleton in double figures with 10. Tech pushes. Anderson scores and he's fouled.
Well, the two big guys of LSU went down on the rebound, and smart Kenny Anderson knew it. Watch the two big guys trying to get up the court. This gives him an opportunity to do a little one-on-one move close to the basket without eating the basketball in return, and he spotted it right away.
And Maurice Williamson and Dale Brown on the sideline as Maurice will sit down with 4 personals. Kenny Anderson tries to complete the three-point play and does. And Anderson has 17. Tech in front by 1. 7th lead change of the second half. Stanley Roberts, he's been the man in the second half for LSU, and Malcolm Mackey shoves him from behind. That's 4 on Mackey, one of Georgia Tech's only big men. Earlier today, as you see what Arkansas and Dayton are doing, it was North Carolina picking off the #1 team. Michigan State by 4 here in the Southeast. UNLV advances to the Sweet 16. Ball State continues their Cinderella story. 20-point win for the #1 seed Huskies. Clemson comes from way behind to win. And LSU and Georgia Tech trying to join the 16-team party.
LaSalle was my dark horse team. I thought that Simmons was really going to carry that ball club through. They had a very good backcourt, but Clemson must have come alive.
Clemson with a great front line of Dale Davis and Eldon Campbell, and you saw the numbers on Campbell. Georgia Tech leading by 1, under 12 minutes to go. Winner will meet Michigan State in New Orleans next week. Carl Brown. Very seldom does he shoot, as I said earlier. He made that one count. On the other end, Duvall can't answer it. O'Neal, nice feed in low.
What a heads-up play by O'Neal.
Georgia Tech 62, LSU 61. Malcolm Mackey with 4 personals, kicks it back out. Brian Oliver for 3. This one off the front of the iron. And LSU will push it with a 3-on-2. Jackson. Anderson is alone. Georgia Tech matches their biggest lead again. Roberts, they double on him, but he still lets free. Brother.
That basket's going to shake for about another 25 seconds.
We knew this was going to be a fun one, and it is. Oliver. Brown and Anderson working around the perimeter. Kenny Anderson pulls up. Can't get that one. Malcolm Mackey keeps it alive. Fresh 45 for Georgia Tech. And we've got a timeout. 10 minutes.
Sunday isn't always a day of rest. Tomorrow, catch a triple-header thriller as second-round excitement continues. It's March Madness Mania.
Well, the sun has set on the capital of the state of Texas here in Austin, this lovely city of 500,000 folks. And inside the Frank Irwin Center, Midwest Region doubleheader. The #1 seed Oklahoma ousted earlier by North Carolina. And Arkansas holding on to a 74-65 lead over Dayton, and the winners due for an appointment in Dallas next weekend. This is Nigel Knight with the jump shot short.
Just got into the flow. Boy, Miller's some target inside.
They hit the target, and he hits Fury, who takes it below, coming in. Score it and put him on the line.
On a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
Li Chen of the Chinese National Airline uses Craftsman. Hand tools that are guaranteed forever. The tools a lot of people buy because they know they can always return them. And some buy because they know they can't.
We've had an exciting one here in Knoxville, and we've got more of the same coming up tomorrow. In the East, St. John's and Duke will tangle, and that'll be a beauty. Virginia, Syracuse, Texas, Purdue, and UCLA and Kansas in our second game. Loyola Marymount and Michigan, the defending champions, Tommy.
Well, I'll tell you, that Loyola Marymount is going to test anybody. And you better be in utmost condition if you're going to hope to stay with Loyola Marymount. It's space-age, fast break offense. It's not fast break even. It's what I call offensive pressure. And people really don't understand what a great job that man has done at Loyola.
Halfway through the second half. Dennis Scott got 3 inside. Scott with 19. Remember Williamson on the bench, one of LSU's starting guards with 4 fouls. Roberts, 13 points this half, 21 for the game.
Well, the strategy was to keep Mackey behind the low post players so he wouldn't pick up fouls. But, boy, you've got to give him some help from on top. Otherwise, they're going to score at will.
And Mackey can only do so much. He's got 4 fouls. Anderson wheels for a jumper. Play by Georgia Tech's freshman big man. And now Roberts has 4 fouls.
Well, that gives him a different look. Here's the rebound, and you see Mackey just pick it off the floor with great quickness, and sliding underneath was Roberts.
Roberts with his 4th personal. And Malcolm Mackey will go to the free throw line to try to complete a 3-point play. This would be Georgia Tech's biggest lead if the freshman from up the road in Chattanooga hits this free throw. Scott somehow got it over O'Neal, and then the ball just came loose. 2-on-1. There's a nice pass.
Every once in a while, they look like Syracuse and Douglas. If they get a wingman out there, they alley-oop.
Under 9 minutes, Georgia Tech clings to a 1-point lead. They trail by as many as 17 in the first half, battle back to a 1-point deficit at halftime, and they've led by as many as 3 several occasions this second half. Scott wheels in low. He's double teamed and still scores.
Roberts was in great position, but he didn't even put his hand up that time because of the 4 personals.
21 for Dennis Scott, and that definitely is a score that you wouldn't believe having watched this. Jackson, no. Singleton, yes.
Now, this has been one dandy basketball game. Unlike the first game we did that people couldn't catch the ball. This thing has been a murderous pace and very physical.
Michigan State's already advanced out of this region. Brian Oliver lost it, got it back, and was fouled by O'Neal. That is 4 on O'Neal. And now, Tommy, if you're Georgia Tech, you go after those guys. Both Roberts and O'Neal with 4.
I think you got to play your normal offense. As immediately one of them is coming out, Stanley Roberts will go to the sideline, replaced by Sims. And this gives LSU a different look. And right now, they ought to be able to post up Scott a little bit easier because Sims is not a shot blocker.
Brian Oliver has 15 points. 6th leading scorer all time for Georgia Tech. Dayton still making a run at Arkansas. Oliver connects on both. Georgia Tech by 3 with 7:43 to
All right, now who is the wise guy?
Diet Pepsi with 100% NutraSweet.
Now, that's the right one, baby.
The best laid plans of beagles and men often go astray. Check with your MetLife rep to make sure you have the right kind of insurance. Get Met. It pays.
Get into a new thing. Hot wings. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You finally found a speed you can handle.
New hot wings from Kentucky Fried Chicken. Look out tomorrow.
Anti-lock braking systems. All-wheel drive. Fuel-injected multi-valve engines. Dent-resistant composite body panels. A turbocharged intercooled V6 engine. Only one car company in the world can put all this technology in one showroom. Pontiac, of course.
In Knoxville, Michigan State, the top seed, has advanced to New Orleans. Right now, LSU and Georgia Tech with about 7 minutes to go. And the amazing Kenny Anderson has led the Ramblin' Wreck back into a 72-69 lead. In the early going, it was 17-1 in that game, Billy. LSU out.
They had them down 17, and one thing you have to remember about the Georgia Tech club, it is not a very deep team, so that the numbers would favor LSU going down a stretch, at least from a fatigue standpoint. Tough miss by Coffey. Big steal.
Great steal by Ray Springer.
And he's been hot.
Misses the 3. Out of bounds. What a golden opportunity for O'Brien's Flyers.
Action here in Knoxville. The Southeast Regional, Georgia Tech 72-69 over the Tigers of LSU.
You know, UConn has got that pressing defense. If I were the ACC, I'd be wondering, is Clemson's guards capable of handling that type of pressure?
Chris Jackson, work 3 for a 3.
He's the guy that's going to have to come to the fore right now because the inside game is half gone. And they don't really go to O'Neal as an offensive force. They go to Roberts more. So Jackson is going to be the guy, I think, for LSU.
And maybe this is the guy for Georgia Tech, Anderson, but he didn't get it. Sims pulled it off, and here come the Tigers. Williamson.
What a great play by O'Neal that time to touch pass.
And look at the freshman say, I'm sorry, but I'm coming back down to tie it up again at 74. 21 for Anderson. Scott almost picked up a steal.
You know, they don't run many plays for Chris Jackson. Kind of put him on his own, let him go one-on-one, because he's got that very nifty dribble. And all he's got to do is get you leaning one way, and he can get a shot off. So you don't need a set picks for him if he's got a man relatively his own size.
He works against Carl Brown. Got another shot off. Got it to go. Wait a minute. Offensive foul on Jackson. Basket is good.
Right underneath. Oh, Brown. What a great play by Brown, who was with him all the way. Well, you watch the foot movement here. Well, we didn't quite get it all, but he was planted as Jackson went up for the shot. Jackson was trying to slide by a guy and leaned in.
LSU's 3 top players each have 4 fouls. Roberts has just checked back in. He and O'Neal both with 4. Jackson on that charging foul also with 4 personals. And at the other end, Georgia Tech will have Carl Brown at the free throw line from Leicester, England. Grew up playing soccer, and then played at junior college before coming to Georgia Tech 2 seasons ago. And he's been one of Bobby Kremen's defensive stoppers. O'Neal goes out with 4 personals.
Well, when you play an up-tempo game and you don't use a lot of people, your people are going to end up with a lot of fouls.
Carl Brown has 3 points all in this half and gives Georgia Tech now the chance to tie things up. And does. 76-76. 6:29 to play. Brad Nessler and Tommy Heinsohn with you at the Southeast Regional at Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville. And this has been a gem so far. Brown trying to draw the charge, didn't get it. Singleton underneath. Forget about Singleton, he has 16. Anderson missed. Roberts clears.
Boy, and they missed 3 guys heading up the court.
Jackson short on a 3. Kenny Anderson comes away with it 1-on-1. Now 2-on-1. Dennis Scott's going to pull up from 3-point land. Dennis Scott with 24.
Boy, he just nestled over that 3-point line as the only defender there was Jackson.
Roberts is short on that one. Nice feed in low again as Singleton scores. And we've got a timeout. Singleton with 8.
They're playing man-to-man and playing hard-nosed. They got out of their 2.
Deflected by...
Hit Murray's hand.
Yes, indeed. Murray touched it. It goes to the Flyers. They can tie it here at the 3-minute mark or go ahead with a 3.
And you know what else they have working for them? These Texas fans now all of a sudden become a home court advantage for Dayton, which they're used to taking advantage of.
They quietly watched this one for quite a while, savoring the first game. Now they're right back in the thick of things, and Richardson called off his press that time. Knight is the main man. He's number 32, awaiting the ball back from Springer. Here he comes.
They're stretching that defense out.
Knight with a great pass to Corbett. We're tied. 2.5 minutes.
Great look by Knight. Everybody on the Arkansas team assumed that he would put up the shot as he looked at the rim and then dished down inside to his senior buddy, 2-time MVP of this club. And Corbett not only hits the shot, but goes to the line.
Out of Dayton-Patterson High School, Anthony Corbett now moving to the line. At 7:24, it was 77-65 Arkansas. Now we are tied at 81 with 2:30 to go. Knight has done a fabulous job of running the floor, handing out 11 assists here this afternoon.
LSU by a point over Georgia Tech. LSU jumped all over Georgia Tech early. See the timeouts remaining. LSU with 3, Tech with 2. No fouls to give, and the possession arrow in the Tigers' favor. LSU led by 17 points in the first half, 22-5, led by only 1 at halftime. Georgia Tech has led on several occasions by 3 this half and now trail by 1.
But many people in foul trouble, and that will really be a factor at the tail end of the game, particularly if one of the big guys for either team goes down.
Anderson for 3.
Boy, he's just floating around on that perimeter, and people are setting picks.
You haven't
knocking him down.
You haven't had a chance to see Kenny Anderson. You have now. He's got 24. Battle for the rebound. Roberts won it. Threw up an air ball, and McNeil pulled it down for Georgia Tech. Scott outside. Oh, my goodness.
Getting up fast, and he's in the corner. Boy, he's got a wide-open shot and a lot of confidence to make those three-pointers.
Georgia Tech's biggest lead. Jackson tries to answer and does.
Boy, this is some basketball game.
4:20 to go. Georgia Tech leads by 2. Dennis Scott in low this time. Had it blocked. Got it back. Had it blocked again. Mackey, good move. A 6'10 freshman for Georgia Tech who's not been intimidated tonight. Jackson. Underneath, Singleton fouled by McNeil.
Here you're going to see as the 2 shot blockers go in and intimidate and actually block the shot, and great up fake as Mackey lifted 2 of the Tigers.
But Johnny McNeil is fouled out for Georgia Tech, so there goes one of their big men. He leaves with 7 points all in the first half to go with 5 rebounds.
Scott has got 4, and they need his shooting, and they need Mackey for a physical presence underneath there.
And look what's going on between Dayton and Arkansas in the Midwest, tied with less than a half minute to go. They've had a great of NCAA tournament basketball. 14 tourney games have already been decided by 4 points or less. We have 2 more of those going on right now tonight. Singleton has missed all his free throws tonight until that one. Tomorrow the action continues. St. John's and Duke get together in game 1. Then you see the rest of the lineup finished off by Alabama and Arizona.
Harvey picked that St. John's team, put it on his shoulders, and they have responded.
Boy, if it gets down to the final seconds, put it in his hands. How many times has he won games this year? Kenny Anderson and Malcolm Mackey, 2 freshmen for Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets lead with 3.5 minutes to go, 87-85. Brian Oliver didn't get it. Sims all alone for the rebound. LSU can tie, and they want a timeout. Dale Brown calls a timeout with 3 minutes, 22 seconds remaining in the ball game. Georgia Tech holding to an 80.
Missed a delivery. I guess that means this division never missed a delivery.
Way to go, Dwayne.
Happy retirement, Twain. Now it's our turn to deliver.
Mass Mutual. We hope you keep your promises.
Dayton and Arkansas are tied with 27 seconds. We welcome those of you who've been watching that great LSU-Georgia Tech game. This 3 by Nigel Knight has tied the Dayton Flyers with the Arkansas Razorbacks. All already in this region here today. North Carolina has ousted Oklahoma. Now, in white, with the ball, Arkansas. Last shot time. And Billy Packer, they've got a lot of weapons out there.
They're going into a 4 corners. Remember, Day is the fellow that you want to go ahead and take one from the outside, but I think they want Mayberry in penetration. Tell Miller to go up for the rebound.
This is Day with the ball. He is number 10. Swings inside with the top of the circle. Not there. Gets his own rebound and puts it in. 3 seconds to go. And timeout has been called by Jim O'Brien's Dayton Flyers. They're down a pair.
He's asking for 1 more second, but he only gets the 2.
Here is the basket. It was a great follow-up by Day on the inside. He had a quiet first half, but he came alive.
Brent, as I said, Day is pushing 6'9", and he can back you in from that guard position. And yet he can go ahead and get the offensive rebound.
Arkansas coach Nolan Richardson over on his sideline. Now that's something at this moment, trying to balance a little cup of water. That's pretty good. Nerves over there. Now Nigel Knight for the Dayton Flyers in the first 34 minutes of this game had 8 points. And then over the last 6 minutes, he scored another 8, and he's dished out 10 assists. Now, Billy, 2 seconds, not much time.
Not much time. You can't go ahead and dribble it all on this play. It has to be a pass, get it up to the half-court area, and get off that shot. Certainly possible, but you can't afford to put the ball on the floor.
Northern Iowa with that marvelous upset. Ball State advancing. North Carolina.
Loyola Marymount story.
That's a great game, and all of you are going to be seeing the end of it as soon as the last 2 seconds here in regulation come to an end. Although, who knows, if Jim O'Brien can get a miracle here, we get into overtime.
I'm surprised if they don't have credit in the game as well to get some more size in there. They're going to run the loop, it looks like, here to get Nigel Knight the ball at... Here he comes.
Howard throws it up high. Ball is free. Arkansas advances. It'll be Arkansas and North Carolina with an appointment in Dallas.
Oh, what a day in Austin. North Carolina and Arkansas win at the buzzer to move on to Dallas on Thursday. Mo Williamson hit a 3 for LSU. Chris Jackson has fouled out. Let's go back now to Brad and Tommy in Knoxville.
And we welcome you back to Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee. Southeast Regional Round 2. Georgia Tech and LSU, and what a battle this has been. You just saw a thrilling finish, and you're in for another one here with LSU leading with 2:42 to go. But Brian Oliver to try to tie it up again. Oliver has 17. Arkansas survives by 2 in the Midwest.
You know, getting back to Chris Jackson with that Tourette syndrome, he has nervous tics that at times... That's why Dale Brown was saying he was so gallant.
The ball in there now with Jackson on the bench. Singleton has been a force today. So is this man, Roberts. 89-88 Georgia Tech. O'Neal is fouled. At the Southeast Regional in Knoxville, Tennessee, Brad Nessler and Tommy Heinsohn along with you. We welcome you to this Southeast Regional second round matchup where Georgia Tech has a 1-point lead with 2:18 to go. And Shaquille O'Neal about ready to go to the free throw line for Dale Brown's LSU Tigers.
It's really been the big guys of LSU pitted against the outside shooting of Georgia Tech. This guy has been absolutely fantastic in the early stages of the game, but he is saddled with 4 personal fouls right now, as is Stanley Roberts, their other 7-footer.
Georgia Tech has warmed it up in the second half from three-point land. That is what's gotten them back in the game and gotten them the lead. LSU's controlled the paint. The points in the lane have been the Tigers. And O'Neal, who's had a brilliant game, just missed his first free throw but hit his second.
Chris Jackson, their other great backcourt star for LSU, is on the bench, having fouled out.
Johnny McNeil, the big guy for Georgia Tech, is fouled out. And we're tied at 89. Dennis Scott lost the handle and is fouled by Singleton. And Singleton now in foul trouble with 4. 2 players already gone, several other players in foul trouble. Jackson out and McNeil out. Shaquille O'Neal, Stanley Roberts each with 4. Malcolm Mackey, Georgia Tech's lone remaining big man, also with 4. And Carl Brown, their defensive standout at guard, has 4. And Singleton, you saw, just got his 4th foul as he fouled Dennis Scott. Dennis Scott having a little bit of trouble from the free throw line, which is unlike him. He's only 2 for 5 from the line.
Georgia Tech was not afraid of the big guys, although in the beginning of this ballgame I thought they weren't too intelligent. They tried to attack the strength, and they really found out how strong those big guys could be by eating a lot of basketballs. But since then they've made all kinds of moves on the perimeter. Got some fast break opportunities.
Williamson had a notion from 3-point range, instead drives and scores. What a second half he's had. 16 for Williamson. Kenny Anderson penetrates.
I'll tell you, it's one great play after another in this game.
At the top of the game, if you thought Tommy and I were crazy to say it might be a triple-digit game, now you know what we mean. 92-91 Georgia Tech. Roberts kicks it back out. There's a steal. Anderson is the man that did that.
Bobby Crimmins said he would mix the defense up on the big guys, collapse somebody every once in a while, get out on the guards. Causes just a little bit of confusion.
Tech wants to spread it out and use some clock. 25 on the shot clock, 53 on the game clock. As you see, Oliver, O'Neal may have gotten a piece of it. Here comes Williamson and has it knocked away from behind by Kenny Anderson. And we've got a timeout. 45 seconds to play. Georgia Tech.
Staring out there all day. What are you doing?
Trying to figure out which computer is the most powerful.
Well, that's easy. The one with the most memory, megahertz, MIPS, you know.
No, I don't think so.
There we go.
I think the most powerful computer is the one that people actually use.
Macintosh has the power to change the way you look at computers.
But that's not really a fair comparison. People like using the Mac.
festivities are for Dwayne tonight. Dwayne, what's it been, 34 years? 34 years. All that time, I don't think Dwayne ever missed a delivery. I guess that means this division never missed a delivery.
Way to go, Dwayne.
Happy retirement, Dwayne.
Boy, good
Now it's our turn to deliver.
Mass Mutual. We help you keep your promises.
Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, and what a game we've had. 92-91, Georgia Tech. That's the time remaining in the corner of your screen. Georgia Tech with 2 timeouts. LSU has only 1. Neither team has fouls to give, and LSU has the possession arrow in their favor. With Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brad Nessler. This is all it was billed to be.
Well, I think they'll obviously try and go inside. Roberts is the better offensive player off the box. Mackey with 4 personals. And if Williamson makes the feed down there and they back down with his man, Williamson may end up with the outside shot.
There's a 5-second difference on the game clock and the shot clock. The shot clock right now is at 16. LSU will have to start to make a move at about 10, and here they come.
Well, Brown will be able to stay on his man.
Williamson penetrates. Didn't get it. We'll have a whistle and a foul underneath. Singleton is fouled out. 7 seconds to play. Georgia Tech by 1 with the ball.
Well, they went inside, and then they double-teamed, but they still left Williamson wide open. And they kicked it to him. That gave him a little momentum to go inside. It was a great move to cut him off at the pass, and here's a lot of heavy rebounding, and Singleton came over the top, which gives the ball over to Georgia Tech.
Singleton just had a brilliant game. 12 points in the second half, 20 for the ball game before fouling out with 7 seconds to go.
So Scott will be up the line.
Tommy, you and I have seen a ton of basketball games, college basketball games this year. I don't know if there's been one much better.
There has not been, because the style of play, what really fascinated me about LSU is that with those big guys, how well they run up and down the court. When they get used to playing with each other, and with Jackson, so that they really can become a formidable basketball team. It's very, very young. Did not have a leader at the start of the year. Georgia Tech has come on real strong themselves. And in this ball game, they play with a tremendous amount of poise.
Tonight on CBS, it's a special rebroadcast of a 2-hour edition of Paradise, a gathering of guns. Gene Barry's Bat Masterson, Hugh O'Brien is Wyatt Earp, John Schneider, and Johnny Crawford are there. That's tonight following NCAA basketball on CBS.
You know, and this guy here kept his cool. They say he smiles all the time. And what he's really doing is, I think he's just having fun like we are.
He is.
And
it was taken for cockiness, especially in the Knoxville papers this week here at the Southeast Regional. And a lot of people thought that Dennis Scott maybe was a little too cocky and brash for his britches, but he just loves playing basketball. So does Kenny Anderson. We've had 11 ties. We've had 15 lead changes. We have 7 seconds to play. And one of the top free throw shooters from the ACC is going to go to the strike, Dennis Scott.
Well, right now, Scott obviously has to make these 2 free throws to put the game in as good a shape as he can.
And he's only 3 out of 6 so far.
Right. And
season average and 50% of the night for the 6'8 junior out of Reston, Virginia.
That's cool.
The ACC's top gun, who averaged 27.5 on the season. Second team All-American. If he hits this one, LSU needs a 3 to send it to overtime.
They got to get up on him and don't let him just advance the ball real quick.
Here's the finish. Williamson, no good. Georgia Tech makes the Sweet 16. For the first time since '85, Bobby Kremen's club makes the dance of 16. And what a game it was. Dennis Scott, 30 points. And here's how it ended.
Well, that man right there had an awful lot of pressure. He ate a lot of basketballs today as he took it to the big guys quite a bit. But here's the end coming up as they push it.